So for this video, I am going to do a slight introduction to Vectr, but I'm also going to transition into one of your first assignments, which is going to be Pathfinder tools, or the Pathfinder shapes, I should say. So let's get right into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up Vectr, this is going to be the program that you're going to be using. Now, before you get into this assignment, I do just want to say that it is expected that you do the two websites that I give, which is going to be helping you out with the pen tool. All right, so the pen tool is going to be integral with all of your Vectr programs going forward. It does work a little bit differently in Vectr than it does in some of the other Vectr programs that I've used. So I just kind of want to put that out there. But honestly, it is overall about the same. And you'll get really good practice with it within Illustrator. But right here, as you can see, again, I'm not going to go through the whole entire thing, but this game here definitely helps out with that. Gives you the shortcut, so you just take the shortcut, and then it just asks you to like click, to different areas. And again, you'll be doing this on your own. I will be assigning this before your Pathfinder tools, and then the Bezier game. So the pen tool, it did used to be called the Bezier tool. They are the same exact thing. And honestly, with this, it just kind of gives you like a nice little guideline to be able to use the pen tool. And it gives you the general tools or the general keys that you would use along with your pen tool here. So the shift key that allows you to make straight lines, in whatever direction you end up going in. So here I'm just gonna, just kind of follow the shape, because I do want you to see how it does get a little bit more difficult as you move through this. I just want to put this out there. This is definitely going to be a little bit different than it is in Vectr. However, I do want you all to kind of get the practice with it. As you can see, I kind of messed up there. So the big thing with this is getting these lines or getting these curvature points here to where they're supposed to be going. It kind of dictates where your next line is going to go to, or the direction in which it's going to go to. And right here, one key that you were not going to be able to use in Vectr, but you do use a lot in Photoshop, is going to be your Alt key. So as you can see, as I get here to this curve here, I'm just going to let that go, and I'm just going to complete this shape out. Now that one was a kind of easy one, and this is where the Alt starts to come in a little bit. So here, instead of having your next little curvature points going straight, you're actually going to hold down the Alt key in order for them to go in a certain direction. So right here, I'm just going to click and drag. And on the left-hand side, as you can see, I'm aligning those up with the guides that were already there. I'm just going to hold down Alt, hold down Alt, and then, let me try that one more time. Guess it's not gonna like that. Let me undo that actually. So undo. So one more time, I'm gonna click and drag. Now I'm gonna hold down Alt, and now as you can see, as I'm moving my cursor, I'm holding down Alt right now, but as I'm moving my cursor, it just moves that next like curvature point. And again, it kind of dictates in the direction that my next line is going to go to. So it's kind of like pointing up, but it's still trying to point downward. So I'm going to do the same thing here, click and drag. I'm clicking and dragging to the left, but as you can see, the curvature point on the right is I'm just kind of aligning those to make sure that they're correct. Holding down Alt, now I'm going to move this up. And now, as you can see here, I'm just going to click and complete out the shape. And it gets a lot more difficult as you go through. Some of these, you're more than welcome to just click and click. But for some of these, you are definitely going to have to click and drag. Right now, I honestly don't mind how many points it takes you to like finish. As you get a little bit better with this, you'll start to see that you don't really need as many points as you may have like tried to use before. And if you try to overlap into the gray area, it's not going to let you. So I usually split the tires up into two. Just kind of make sure that you get this straight, and get that good practice in with the pen tool. It is a really, really good tool to use within your Vectr programs. I'm just going to finish this one off, and hopefully you can start to see how far you can get. So again, that's going to be like a nice little car. And as you can see here, it says it gives you like a total number of nodes that you can use. If you go over, it's still going to let you keep going. You could actually use like 100 nodes. But as you can see, it gives you like an ideal solution. So this could technically be done in 9 anchors or 9 nodes, which is going to be what those individual points are called. But I'm just going to go to the next stage, and again, just keep going. I just want you to see that you have a lot to go with this. Try to get that practice in with the pen tool. But let me go ahead and get into Vectr right here and set you up for your first assignment. So within class, I'm going to kind of go over the interface. I'm going to go over like using the pen tool and like where it's at. What I'm actually going to use this video to do is I'm going to show you how to use your Pathfinder tool, which is going to be like a really, really useful tool for a lot of you all. And it's the same actually as you get into Illustrator, as you get into these other Vectr programs. They do use a lot of the same techniques. So I just kind of want to put this out there for your next assignment. So what I'm going to do here is I've just made a regular size sheet of paper. So I went down to page settings, changed this to letter US paper, and it changes this to pixels, but honestly, like it is 8.5 by 11 inches. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. And I'm going to go to my layers, and this is very important, everyone. So I need everybody to do this at the very beginning. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool. All right, and I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag and I'm going to make a rectangle. And you can resize it. So I'm going to go down and just kind of like resize this to match the sheet of paper, and go ahead and just make it a color that's not white or black. Either, just maybe your favorite color or just something on the brighter side if you want to work with that. And this is going to be important a little bit later on, and you will see why it is going to be important. So for right now, I'm just going to, let's see. I'm just going to make mine blue, just like that. And the border, I'm actually going to leave this at, white, or no border, I should say. So I'm going to make this 0. So no border there. And I'm in my layers right here. I'm just going to go ahead and lock this. So that way I don't like accidentally move it or accidentally like change the color or anything. That is going to be strictly my background right here. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this file, which you're already going to have in your stuff. It is going to be on Google Classroom, so make sure that you download it, have it ready to go. But it's going to be called Pathfinder Shapes, and I'm just going to kind of keep this to the side. I'm not going to like do anything with this just yet. I'm just going to kind of keep it over here. And what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to lock this layer so I can kind of come back to this later. And I'm going to start working with these shapes here. So the goal here is to have each of these shapes completed. However, there's something very important here, and you can decide when you can use Pathfinder. You can decide when you don't want to use it, but ultimately here, these white areas that are in each of these shapes, they may look like they're white because of the background, because of the background of this picture is white. However, the way that you actually need to interpret these is that those spaces are not there, right? Or they're transparent, they're see-through. And that's actually why I have this blue in the background, all right? So I'm going to go over each of the Pathfinder tools just so that you can get an idea of how that works. And I'm only going to do the first one in this tutorial. I feel like you can kind of figure out the rest of them as you work through it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make 2 black rectangles, 2 black squares here, and if you hold down shift, you can actually make like perfect squares as you're clicking and dragging. So if you hold down shift, it just kind of makes like a perfect square, and I'm going to change this to black. And I'm going to copy this actually, so I'm going to press Control C and then Control V, and I'm just going to overlap them. All right, so do y'all see how these are overlapped here? So what I'm actually going to do, and let me actually take the back rectangle away, just for right now, just so that y'all can see something. And for these 2 shapes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these. All right, so I'm going to highlight them both by just clicking and dragging and just making a box around them. And as you can see, it highlights both of them. And these are going to be your Pathfinder tools right here. So there's going to be those first 4 tools. So the first one is uniting or adding. This next one is subtracting. So as you can, or you might not be able to really see it, but here it takes away from these being two separate shapes and it actually combines them into one. All right, so you're adding the shapes together. This next one is going to be subtract. So whichever shape is in the front, that's going to be, it's kind of, I call it the cookie cutter. So you just kind of cut through the shape that's behind it, and whatever is left behind, that is going to be your shape. And then here, intersection. So anything that does overlap, that is the part that gets left behind. And then here's the opposite. So anything that overlaps actually gets taken away. So between these four shapes, or between these four shape Pathfinder shapes, or Pathfinder options, you can actually make a bunch of different types of shapes using, simple squares, simple circles. And for this first assignment, or for this first shape, I should say, I'm going to highlight these and I'm just going to copy and paste them. And I'm going to kind of put them beside each other, okay? And right here, all that I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these two, actually. So I'm just going to make those one shape. So as you can see, whenever I move them around, it's just one shape. Compared to here, where if I click and drag, it kind of just does, it just moves that first shape that I selected. So I'm actually going to unite these two. So let me unite those. So now it's just one shape. All right, now here, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to make an ellipse. And I'm not going to make it white. I'm actually going to make it blue. So let me actually move this, and I'm just going to kind of center that. And let me copy and paste this, actually. And actually, let me go ahead and make these white so that you can actually see them against that. So let me change the color of this to white. Same thing with here. There it goes. And kind of shift that around a little bit. There it goes. All right, so right here, what I'm actually going to do is, since this is one shape, now I'm going to actually select the circle to go along with it. So now all three of these are actually selected within here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to do a subtract, because I'm actually subtracting this front shape from the back shape. All right, so I'm going to subtract it. It doesn't look like anything happens. However, this is what I want y'all to see. So here they still look about the same, but I'm actually going to turn on the rectangle path in the back. And as you can see, it actually cut through the back shape. That circle got cut through, and it actually left this space in the middle, as opposed to here where if I actually made this disappear, as you can see, they look exactly the same, but the Pathfinder, what it actually does is that it actually takes away that front shape there. So it just kind of goes through each of these. Now, this is going to take some problem solving. It is going to, you're going to work with all four of them in some cases. Actually, I think the most you'll probably use in one time is probably 2 to 3. I don't think you'll use all four of them for any of these. But, just know that there's always a way to get these shapes. All right, and I'm actually going to take this away. So the way that I'm going to grade it is I do want y'all to put a rectangle in the back, and I'm going to make sure that I can see this space inside of each of those. All right, so inside of each of these shapes, anywhere that you see a gap or anywhere you see a space, that needs to be the background color of whatever your rectangle is. All right, and that is how I'm going to grade this assignment. I wish you luck with it. Please let me know if you have any questions with this, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you all come up with, and this is going to be very beneficial for you all going forward. Happy creating. I will see y'all later. Bye.